No? I'm not going crazy. You're not going crazy. I think Square Enix is, because there's so much news about Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy 15, and now Kingdom Hearts 3, that I just have to smile. Because this doesn't happen. It happens once every millennia. Hey guys, what's going on? This is NGS back again for another video. Hope y'all are having a very good day, as always. Got another update for you regarding Final Fantasy VII Remake. Yes, I can't believe it either, but hey, we got one. Also, let me know down below what you think about this style of video recording, where it's me commentating over the articles of footage. I'm not going to do this for everything, but if it's news compilations of things related to Square Enix games and various RPGs, I do think it works pretty well. Let me know down below, and also tell me what you think about it and how I can improve on it. So let's get straight into the updates regarding Final Fantasy VII Remake, because we got a couple of them. So, first and foremost, a little bit of an update on something that we talked about last week. I mentioned that I had my suspicions on the development progress of the game, like where the game stands in terms of development. Since they were able to show off some pretty early alpha footage of Final Fantasy VII Remake, I thought that it was far along to the point where they didn't just start developing this like 6-7 months ago. And it was confirmed by Tetsuya Nomura and the guys over there that the story scenario for Final Fantasy VII Remake, Part 1 anyway, is officially complete. Now, this does not mean that the game is complete. Don't get it twisted, ladies and gentlemen. This just means that the story, the structure, everything about it is done. From there, they have to translate that into the gameplay and see how things will work around it. So I assume it is still far off from an initial release, but if the story is complete, I can say that without a shadow of a doubt, this is farther along than I originally anticipated. I thought, looking at that, I was like, oh, okay, you know, it's probably gonna be 2 years off from now, but if the story's done for this game, we could possibly see the first part within 16, 17, 18 months, not much longer than 2 years. They probably have to go back and refine a couple of things that happened. But yeah, the story for the first part is complete. So whether or not that releases in a year and a half remains to be seen. And then moving on to something I also anticipated, the remake will explore characters like Biggs, Wedge, and Jesse further. I mentioned that if they were going to remake Final Fantasy VII, it would make no sense for them to do a shot-for-shot remake, considering that the entire saga, the story around FF7, has become so vast with the side games like Dirge of Cerberus and Crisis Core, that it wouldn't make sense for them to not mention those things. So we are going to get more about the other characters in the story. We're going to get to explore more of Midgar. They have an idea about the number of games that they're going to have, but they can't comment, of course. They got to say that PR stuff. Not talking about online. The scenario is complete, and they're getting assistance from the Kingdom Hearts team for Unreal Engine 4. We'll speak more about that later. And everything else here is just, yeah, whatever. But yeah, let's talk about the things that are important in this. I already mentioned that they're going to be using this as a chance to explore other parts of the Final Fantasy VII story, which is cool. And the whole thing about the amount of games in this series, the sheer volume. A lot of people have been speculating that, oh, this means we're going to get like 16 different episodes of Final Fantasy VII. Guys, when Square Enix said that this is going to be a multi-part story, multi-part doesn't mean episodic. I think we all kind of, we all took that the wrong way. We all think that multi-part and episodic are interchangeable. But they're talking about full-sized games, full $60 retail releases. So I assume that if they're going by normal standards, obviously we're going to get at least the trilogy, because if this game is so vast, it is so large that they cannot contain it on one Blu-ray disc, what makes you think it's going to be just 2? And they have an idea about the number of volumes, because if it was just 2, they could come out and say, hey, we're just doing a 2-part game. But it's probably going to be 3. Any more than 3, I think they're kind of stretching it, because even if this is released annually, you're looking at like 4, 5, 6, 7 years of Final Fantasy VII. I think that is I think that's stretching it. I personally think that's stretching it. I don't think they could get away with that, but who knows? This is Final Fantasy VII. People have been clamoring for a remake for 2 decades now. 2 decades. So we'll just have to see. Online, I would comment on this about the possibility of it, but I'll just wait until we hear more about the game. And they're getting technical assistance from the Kingdom Hearts team of Unreal Engine 4. This is what has been pretty controversial. A lot of people were under the impression that the entire Kingdom Hearts team is helping out with Final Fantasy VII Remake. Reading between the lines, I do not believe that at all for a second, guys. I do not believe that they shifted resources from KH3 to Final Fantasy VII Remake. The only reason why I think they're getting developmental help from the KH team in Osaka is because they're developing it with Unreal Engine 4. Final Fantasy VII Remake is also developed with Unreal Engine 4. So considering that Kingdom Hearts 3 is, I think, their first game with Unreal Engine 4, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong down below, they might have done a different game with Unreal Engine 4. It would make sense for a big budget release that they get some help from people who are developing it right now. And this has happened numerous times with different development studios. It's happened with people at Sony and Microsoft, and just various studios have helped one another when it comes to utilizing a new engine to get the best out of the engine that they possibly can. So I don't think we have to worry that they've siphoned off 90% of the resources into Final Fantasy VII Remake. That just doesn't make any sense. But if this thing does come out before Kingdom Hearts 3, I'm going to be pretty freaking pissed. Pretty pissed, to say the least. So yeah, we've covered both these 2 articles. Let's move on to something related to... wrong article again. Nomura and Kitase, they talk more about the development. This is actually, they don't reveal too much about the game, but it's a really interesting read regarding some of the stuff that happened at PSX and the public interest of the game. Like, Square Enix knows people want to play it ASAP, and that's one of the contributing factors to why they split it into several parts. So because a lot of people were very vocal and they wanted the game, Square Enix decided to, I guess, give Nomura what he wanted when he said that, hey, I want to make this game the best game I possibly can. Can I split it up? Yeah, okay, sure. Yeah, go for it. Yeah, it's going to make us money either way. And he's talking more about how the game is going to evolve and change from what we initially saw at PlayStation Experience, and photorealistic and voice acting, and the Osaka Kingdom Hearts team are in frequent contact with the Remake team in regards to Unreal Engine 4. And, this is not really important stuff. But it's pretty funny because it shows Nomura's sheer graphic hoariness, because he keeps talking about, the game's gonna look better, it's gonna look better, the graphics are just gonna be exponentially better, it's not representative of the freaking final product, there will be more zippers, there will be more spikes and details and polygons on Cloud's hair, you don't have to worry about that. Even I shit you not, the grains of asphalt look too big when compared to the size of characters. Like, it's gotten to the point where this man, Nomura, is so obsessed with the visuals of the games, and I don't know if that plays a part in development. Like, he spends so much time making these things look not photorealistic but real, that it's hindering development. Maybe that is part of the reason why these games take an extra 6 years to develop. Nomura wants to make sure that the details on the asphalt of the grain of rock 60 yards out look so realistic. And we could probably do a whole video on Nomura and his fetishes with zippers and grains of asphalt, but regardless of that, let's move on to some info regarding Final Fantasy 15. Yes, we haven't heard about this in about 14 minutes. This one is pretty funny because it's in regards to the release date. And this is where I kind of get some personal vindication as a fan of the Persona series, as a fan of a lot of smug Japanese RPG fans saying, no, Persona is not a real Japanese RPG. It's not serious. It's not like Final Fantasy. It doesn't have the worldwide appeal. Who cares about Persona? Yeah. You've pretty much heard that time and time out. Even though Persona is one of the most critically acclaimed Japanese RPGs around. And not just counting Persona, Shin Megami Tensei as a whole. In a questionnaire that they released in Japan, on the survey, Square asked if Persona 5 and Final Fantasy 15 came out at the same time, which would you prefer? Now, you could read this several ways. I'm going to take the vindictive fanboy route. Persona 5 releases in summer 2016. Final Fantasy 15 is playable from start to finish. It's not complete. They still have to refine it, but it's playable from start to finish. So if they're thinking about release dates internally, if they were to release this game in the summer, they view Persona as a threat. Persona 5, a threat to Final Fantasy 15. Persona, a niche franchise with nowhere near the worldwide appeal as Final Fantasy, is causing Square to rethink their decisions. I just think that's personally beautiful because it's about freaking time. And yes, man, I know people are going to come in and say, well, it's a classic business decision because everybody has oh so little money, so they got to choose whether or not they want to spend $80 on a video game, and if it's going to be one or the other, come on, man, it's just business. Yes, I get that, but ooh, it feels so good as a fan of Persona to just... Square Enix is quivering because of the might of Persona 5. Zoe70, go do a video, bro. You could make a whole 36-minute rant about this. But yeah, if Persona 5 and Final Fantasy 15 came out on the same day, I know I would be spending the money to buy both. But if it does come out, I don't know if it will be able to hit summer. I'm thinking fall 2016, just because I figure they're going to delay it anyway, because that's the course of every video game. But we'll know more in March when the release date is confirmed. And, yeah, they talk more about the active time report, and it's going to feature the antagonist and the magic system. And, you know, if you're really interested in Final Fantasy 15, they're making up for the 8 years that we haven't seen the game at all. So, you can just appreciate these things with the active time reports. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that was the updates on Final Fantasy VII Remake and Final Fantasy 15. It's very surprising that we've heard so much about these games, and I'm looking forward to this steady, consistent stream of info. If not every week, if not every other week, at least once a month, I want to hear an update on these games, because I think it really pays to keep the consumer involved in the process, especially when you go so long with not telling them anything. Like what they're doing, these active time reports, even though it may not reveal a lot of info, to the average consumer who wants to see a big bombastic trailer, I think it's interesting because it keeps people in the loop. It's like how certain Kickstarters keep you involved in the process. You know, this is what we're doing in here and there. I mean, I think that more people should do that. Obviously, not everyone's going to do it because some games, more than others, they want to keep a certain level of secrecy behind them and wait for the next reveal. But it's still pretty cool that they're doing these for the games that we've known about for 10 years. So anyway, let me know what you think down below in the video description, comment section. There we go. I said video description. Wow. I'm GS signing out. And like always, I will catch you guys later. Peace.